Incompetence at some point is intentional. At some point, call out incompetence. It should be considered as proposed if an outcome has been achieved that someone likes. Like when, they have taken away some gun rights when, white or brown kids die. In most, some could argue, in all situations, incompetence played a role. Yet they moved to restrict access to protect ourselves from anyone, especially those who understand or figured out what they're doing. I personally don't trust anyone who spends almost $32 billion on a medicine that's harmful to those who are vitamin D deficient. While I read that a German man has received the same medication 87 times. Knowing that, I also read that a person who is a protein biochemist said that we can produce proteins to do exactly what we want. So you want me to give up my gun so I can have to depend on the same people or women that failed you? No thanks. I'm supposed to depend on those people or organizations to protect me and my family from gang members who shoot 10-month-old babies and their mothers in the head. Look it up. Cartel killings in California. I saw the report when it first happened. You could listen to the young mother family call for help. The help didn't come until the 4 in the house, and the young mom and mother, the baby, were all killed. Then protectors removed the ability to hear that call for the help that never showed up. Again, no thanks. I've watched protectors listen to kids being killed, and one kid who having 30 bad encounters with police had other sound alarms, and they were all ignored. And they don't want us to place our faith in the same people who let their kids die. Again, no thanks. I can say or promise you that if I had the protection that some of those people had while they listened to children being shot, I would have been taken out by someone else on my team, because chances are I would have tried to save those kids. Do you know why? Because your kids died. Because I or someone like me, who was there with an AR-15, I promise you, I or someone else that was there with an AR-15, most of your kids would still be alive. I can't believe you want us to place our faith into the hands of those who follow orders to stand down. I can't. No. That's the nice way to put it. I have another word written on the screen, but I'm not going to read it because I'm not trying to get this video banned. But no. For even suggesting that I may, maybe I need to explain, the rules of a gunfight. Maybe that'll help. I don't know. Rule number 1, in gunfighting, if you're pointing your gun in the wrong place or direction, you might get hit. Or you might hit what you're pointing at, but a trained person will hit you. That's what the purpose of a SWAT team is. So standing down when kids are being shot makes no sense to me. Some of us are decent shots. I learned at the age of 7 I could hit what I aim for. The only way 1, 2, or 3 kill more shooters than themselves is if the shooters have no training, like calling out each one to make sure there is a gun on each bad guy, or only the bad guys have guns. Allowing a killer over an hour with kids is insane. Evil. That had to be a power move. That had to be a power move. The only question would be, how high up did that stand down command come from? So I watched some protectors give answers that I would argue for keeping and having your protection for your family. That is after I saw 2 guys, going back to the cartel killing, kill 6 people. They said 3, but I only saw 2. Okay, so I'll even give you the 3. There's no way that 3 people kill 6 people unless those 6 people didn't have guns. That's the only way. And then you have a protector come out, and the only information he gave us was the amount of gangs in his state. Maybe I got it all wrong, and that information was I took it as a threat, to anyone who speaks up or against them. I would think such information would be, our argument, for me it would be for more guns. A 16-year-old mother and her baby boy. My mother was 16 when she had me. She was raped by a gang member. Had me, 16. So that means she was 15. That protector went on to say how gangs support themselves, which is another good reason or argument for more jobs. The protector mentioned drugs that are supposed to be kept off our streets. But no major city in this land, this country, has a shortage of drugs or jail cells for them to place the poor, mostly black young men in. Like they got gangs, but they only got black gangs. They ain't got no other gangs but black gangs. You look in most of these states, they only arresting black gangs. Now that's, if they survive the greatest takeover of the new city coming to our great drug dens. They're saying we decriminalizing. You're taking away guns and decriminalizing. My whole idea would be something different than gangs or groups who support you selling drugs in your state. That's all your decriminalization did. If our protectors are responsible for keeping this material off our streets and chooses to fund other borders and then remove jobs and then place our men and women in prisons for selling those drugs they failed to keep off our streets, who is the fool? Who is the modern day slave master or slave owners? Now they don't need us or want us anymore. So by now, you finally got, for some of you, you're getting new cars for the first time. This is why some criminals will follow a criminal. If he betters your life, you don't care anything else he does. All you know is your life got better. For they have a piece of the pie, the drug pie. This is why supporting some who support a bad person have changed their life. They will keep supporting that person. He changed their life. Economics is why young men and women keep killing themselves. What other choices do they have? A service job that can't, give you food, housing, a fat ride, nice jewelry, and the ability to pay all your bills? They're okay with killing for their elite leaders. Control. What's the problem in America? The middle class has guns. No other country has such a problem. So they blame the mass drug fights in middle class areas on the middle class. Sometimes it's not even middle class areas. It's poor areas that are fighting over territory for drugs, but they want to take guns from the rest of us. If something you're responsible for to keep off our streets with your drugs, and it finances 700 countries, or shall I say, 700 companies, gangs, that have 34,000 employees in one state, needs to be flipped to remove prison, murder, and abuse. And not decriminalizing doesn't fix that, because then you just tell them you won't put them in jail. So those who are, and then you take away guns from certain groups. I told you who those groups are, but you don't take them away from everybody. So that means certain gangs will be allowed to prosper, while other gangs will be put in jail when you got gangs from every source. You're only arresting black gangs. No other gangs are being arrested because you decriminalize selling drugs, but then you're going after the other gangs because they have guns. Same guns the other guys have, but you're arresting only certain gangs. Yeah, well, I think we should be using that money to pay down our debt for the entire country, not just enriching the lives of those who want to run for office or the gangs to get bigger. We need to do something and give those people jobs. I would say make it a federal job and make it a good paying job so everyone gets a benefit from something that's obviously a commodity, because you got 700 companies with 34,000 employees that you're supporting. That's a legitimate product. But some of you want to keep it for yourself. That's why I say anyone that's still illegal to sell, especially marijuana, you're a racist state. When other states are selling it legitimately and you choose to keep criminalizing it so you can put a certain group of people in jail, this is why we need our own space. And stop being slaves. You are a slave when you're in jail. So those screaming, slavery happened 400 years ago. No, some of you are practicing slavery today. Anyone arguing against this flip needs to be investigated. We need jobs that are legitimate and lucrative, not making a lawyer rich who you got to get after you get caught. If this flip saves lives in any state from making product or producing gangs that are okay with killing a 16-year-old mother and her baby, it's worth the effort. Something tells me the stand down and the family of 6 was in order. This needs to stop. We're not acting like a civilization. More worse than animals, if you ask me. Why? We have discernment. We can stop and think about what we're doing to ourselves and our kids. They are starting with black people. Have you heard the numbers they want to achieve with lowering the population? As a unit, we can beat them. If we allow them to lower the population according to their plan, eventually we all die. And they'll use robots. Don't let them take away the 2 things that can stop them: a voice like mine and the guns we all have. Yes, you can't win a major war without an F-16. But you also can't make a person do what you want if they have an AR-15 in their hand. He wants to take away the only thing that can stop him from ruling over us and our children. He doesn't care about his own. You think he cares about his own? Or my kid? He and his wife are trying to get our kids to castrate themselves. Our guns are the only way to stop what's going on. Something tells me we will get help with the F-16 fight. Maybe the pilots won't attack the American people. We ain't aliens. Our guns allow us not to beg them to stop hurting our kids like others do. I love everybody's kids, even my enemies. Why? Because if I save that kid, no matter what his parents have taught him or her, there's a chance we become friends. So no, I won't rely on any incompetence when it comes to protecting my family or someone's kid. A family of 6 is dead. Why? See all or most of you who trust the same people to protect your family, kids, neighbors, and didn't. Couldn't, wouldn't, shouldn't. When it comes down to losing a life, I don't want to give up. I don't trust who you're trusting with your life. I'm seeing other families die waiting on help to come. I don't want to fail to protect my kids if I'm present. I would consider dying while protecting your kid as an honorable way to go. I'd be a fool not to keep the best way to possible after seeing the crap these people are trying to do to our kids. Telling us our kids belong to them. Your kid sleeps with hookers and smokes crack. So do you, instead of hell away from my kids, my 9+ kids, who so far, I don't know, smoke crack. I don't think any of my kids smoke crack. There might be at least one there. I got 9+. It's another story. But I ain't no pictures I've seen. I'd be a fool to trust you with one of my kids. And I'm not a fool. I've got degrees now to prove it. Kids are being trafficked and are dying, and you want our guns. I heard a protector pleading for public help because someone was killing people in his city, Stockton, California. Maybe if they had guns to protect themselves, they'd still be alive. This is one of those 700 companies with 34,000 employees who keeps guns to protect their money, products, and territory. This environment is a guarantee that they'll have, I've said this before, have guns in this same video. I have to say it again because some of y'all are not getting it. Guns can kill. If you got 34,000 employees, which is a small army, you can kill 300,000 people. How? If they don't have guns. I'm not concerned with 34,000 gang members. I'm concerned with the elites who give out orders of a new, fresh kid or a hit on someone who exposed their game. This is all a setup. No joke. But this is no longer funny. Tell me what you think. Like, comment, share, follow or subscribe. Thank you for your time.